Okay, welcome back. This is part 2 of ranking the top 25 neighborhoods in Winnipeg from worst to best. We are starting off with number 10 today, and we're going through different neighborhoods that are best for families. If you missed part 1 that went through the bottom 15, go check that out so you understand what's going on and why we're ranking these neighborhoods. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. You guys know we're ranking it for families, a family of 4, prioritizing family amenities, safety, crime, low crime, and good schools. Okay, and number 10 is White Ridge. Now, White Ridge is sort of like I don't want to say poor man's Lindenwoods, but sort of a poor man's Lindenwoods. It's very nice homes. A lot of them are built in the 90s or the 2000s. You don't always get that second living room that a lot of families seem to want because they want the formal living room that can host people and the family room where their family can chill on the main floor. The homes are a bit smaller, the lots are pretty similar sized. The schools aren't as good as they are in Lindenwoods, and because of that, it's only number 10 on my list. You're also very close to the tracks, you're at the edge of the city, and so maybe that isn't as nice. There is a couple of decent parks and community centers, but White Ridge is number 10. And keep in mind, all these neighborhoods are fantastic places to live, but they gotta get ranked, and so somebody had to do it. Okay, and number 9, and you're gonna notice a theme in this video, a lot of these are in the south because these neighborhoods appreciate so much because they're in such high demand and so many people wanna live there. So, number 9 is Charleswood. Now, Charleswood has a reputation with having people who grew up in Charleswood wanting to buy in Charleswood. It's a very tight-knit community. It's a little bit separated from Winnipeg. It does have its own sort of ecosystem. There is great schools in Charleswood. It is in Pembina Trails, which is the best school division and the cheapest for property tax. The biggest downside to Charleswood in terms of real estate is the drainage. A lot of the homes have front ditches. They don't have proper drainage to get the water out. And so in spring, it can be pretty bad if it's a heavy flow year. One of the other benefits of Charleswood is the lots are often very large. And so you don't often find 50 by 200 foot lots in the city. Charleswood has these unique lots where you can get 200 feet deep or even 300 feet deep that are great for families if you're looking for an extra space to run around in or play, and you don't need to go to that park. Another big downside of Charleswood, and the reason why it's at number 9 on my list, is because it's not very walkable. There's not a ton of sidewalks, which is because they have to have the ditches and the drainage and that sort of that connects there. So number 8 is Sage Creek, and I do think Sage Creek will grow and become a better neighborhood in the future, but its issue right now is that it's so new. There isn't a ton of amenities. It does have a pretty cool strip of coffee shops and stores and amenities and stuff like that, but it's not walkable. You have to drive there, which is okay, but a lot of that neighborhood is still very new. They're just building the new school there, and so once all that dust has settled, maybe Sage Creek moves up, maybe it moves down, but for now it's at number 8. It's a great area, great new homes, but it's not as good as the upcoming ones. Okay, so taking a break from the newer neighborhoods, we get into number 7, which is Norwood Flats, and a lot of people love Norwood Flats. Now, I will say it is probably out of the top 10 the most dangerous in terms of crime because you're pretty close to St. Boniface Hospital, and the hospitals will encourage more types of crime than other areas would. But Norwood Flats, it's tucked into a river, it's private, you're on the right side of St. Mary's, it's character homes, it's often lifetime buyers who have lived there for a long time, it's professionals who want to be close to downtown, and it's very family orientated. I was literally showing a house in there last week, and they were doing a bike bus from the school back to kids' homes, and so instead of riding on a bus, there was these escorts who were biking them back to their homes as a group. Very awesome family-oriented neighborhood and decent home value. You are close to parks, you're close to downtown. You sort of get all the benefits of what a downtown normally would have, but you're in a slightly better area. Okay, and in that same vein, number 6 is Crescent Wood. The only reason Crescent Wood is higher than Norwood Flats is because I think the Cordon Strip is better than the Marion Strip. And as parents having kids, yes, we talked about family amenities. Crescent Wood has good schools, but it's also great for date night. As a parent, you can walk, you don't have to drive, you can go to the Cordon Strip. There's stuff along Pembina. Being close to Pembina has great access to the rest of the city for your hockey games, your sports games that you're driving your kids to. And because of that, Crescent Wood is number 6. One of the downsides of Crescent Wood is just that the homes are significantly older, they often need some maintenance, and that's why it doesn't make my top 5. Okay, and number 5 is Fort Garry. Now, in the sake of trying to put all of Winnipeg into 25 neighborhoods, Fort Garry includes West Fort Garry, East Fort Garry, Waverly Heights, and Fort Richmond, which is a large area of the city. To be fair, these should each be probably 3 different neighborhoods, but all in all, this is what's considered Fort Garry. They do have good schools. There is pockets of schools that aren't as good as others, but most people that live in Fort Richmond, East Fort Garry, or West Fort Garry that grew up there want to stay there. Some of the homes do have some issues such as aluminum wiring and foundation issues that we talked about in previous neighborhoods because of the age of the homes, but these homes are much more in family-oriented neighborhoods. You're far enough away from the crime. As long as you are far enough away from Pembina, it seems to be safe. You're also super close to University of Manitoba, and so the life cycle of schooling, you give good elementary, good middle school, good high schools, all the way up to good university level. You're close to all those types of amenities as well. Number 4 is StPatel. Now, this will include Old StPatel and South StPatel. Again, this is a massive area. There is such a wide diversity of homes here, but StPatel has a reputation, and I think it's rightfully so. This is where if you want some pseudo-French, it's a great area to live in. There's ages of homes range between 1920s all the way to 2000s, depending on where you move in terms of south to north. You can get riverside properties. You're close to a ton of parks. The schools are good. You're in Louis Riel School Division, and so if you prioritize French, you have great access to that. Dakota Collegiate and is one of the main high schools, which is really close, which has great sports programs and other stuff like that. And depending on where you are in StPatel, it actually is still affordable because it doesn't always have the high price tag of the Southwest. You're still south, but you seem to usually get a little bit of a better deal in terms of the value for your house. Okay, so now without further ado, let's get into the top 3 neighborhoods in Winnipeg and why I think they are the top 3 for families. So number 3, and this is going to be what I think a lot of people think is number 1 based on how I've been going through my rankings, but number 3 is River Heights. River Heights is a good area. It comes with its own issues that we'll talk about, but it has really good schools. It has really good family-focused community. It has good access to parks. It's very easy to navigate. Everything is a grid. And there's a reason why it has such high demand, even though most of the houses are sort of hot garbage. And that's the only con, and the reason why it's not in the top 2 for me is because the homes are almost always sloping. It's literally a joke about River Heights is that every house has a bit of a slant. If you don't know about River Heights, it used to sort of be like swampland, and they filled in all the creeks and streams back in the 1910s with rocks and dirt and soil, and they built all these homes on top of it, and then they didn't understand how landscapes for water worked, and all the land went like this, right? And so homes sank, homes went up, homes tilted, homes slanted forward, homes slanted back, homes fell over, homes have been rebuilt. But River Heights has the highest lot value. It's one of the most popular areas for infill single family housing. There's lots of areas where they do infill duplexes, but River Heights specifically has lots of infill single family homes where somebody will buy a lot and build their luxury home because they love the neighborhood so much. And for that reason, it's number 3. Number 2 is Bridgewater. And this includes trails, lakes, and forest. It does not include South Point because we ran out of neighborhoods, and I think South Point is too close to the Brady landfill to be considered a top 2. But Bridgewater, if you get into the right home, it's been developed long enough that I think you're starting to reap some of the benefits of it. There is great access to parks because this is one of the first neighborhoods that they designed around having integrated green space, where there's parks in the middle with lots of trees and bike paths and playgrounds for kids to play. The Bridgewater Center area now has great access to shops and restaurants and commercial space, and that's where they stuck a lot of the apartments. And so you could choose to live in that trendy center area where there's lots of apartments, higher density of living, or you can go out to the suburbs and get a 10 to 15-year-old home at a decent price. Most of them do need some updates, but I do think most of them are livable. And Bridgewater, you are close to Kennison, you're close to Waverly, you're close to Pembina. Bridgewater is great for young families, professionals, and it's very diverse because a lot of immigrants move there because they prefer new construction. Okay, and number 1 on the list, the one you've all been waiting for, is Lindenwoods. And there's a couple of reasons why. The first one is Lindenwoods has two of the best elementary schools in Winnipeg. The high school, Shaftesbury High School, is not as good, but that's usually not a problem for Lindenwoods because a lot of those people in the neighborhood will go to private schools such as St. Paul's, St. Mary's. Sometimes they can get to Vincent Massey instead. But the elementary and middle schools are two of the best in the city. They have a high reputation because of that. Families love them. It's a well-built area. Homes range from the 70s to the 2000s. Some of them do need updates. They're very large, they're big lots. Some parts of it have become very mature in terms of their trees and their urban canopy. They have great access to parks that run through the middle, and it's very accessible because there's a loop that loops around the entire neighborhood that we call the Lindenwoods Loop. It's Lindenwood Drive West and Lindenwood Drive East, depending on which part you're at. Okay, you can get out of that neighborhood pretty easily, and now with the way Winnipeg has been building sort of very southwest, Lindenwoods has become a lot more central. It's a lot closer to the Tuxedo Outlet Mall, the Kenniston Common area, as well as easy access to get to StPatel, Polo Park, or downtown. Okay, and that is it for our video today. If you think I messed up with ranking a different neighborhood, let me know. Let me know which neighborhood you call home and why you think it should be ranked higher or maybe even lower if you think it's overvalued. So drop a comment in that below, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, it means a lot. Hit the links below for a free consultation, and see you in the next one.